They thought it was over after the diss tracks. But what's happening now? That's way bigger, because Kendrick didn't just cook Drake, he reset the entire culture. And while fans are celebrating, the rap game, quiet. Too quiet. Behind the scenes, rappers are panicking, not because they lost a battle, but because Kendrick changed the rules. Lyrics matter again, stadiums are selling out, and mediocrity? It's not cutting it anymore. Now the same artists who used to run the game are watching it slip away, and the craziest part, they're blaming Kendrick for all of it. This isn't just a rap beef. It's a cultural shift, and some of your favorite rappers are still mad they're not part of it. Kendrick didn't walk away from the beef with just bragging rights. He walked away with the blueprint. What he did wasn't just lyrical domination, it was a system reset. He reminded the world what happens when a rapper brings meaning, message, and mastery to the mic. And now every rapper stuck in autopilot looks exposed. This wasn't about punchlines, it was about priorities. Kendrick made it clear, if you're gonna stand on a stage, you better have something to say. And that's the shift nobody was ready for. Fans stopped accepting surface-level tracks with a hot feature and recycled flows. Suddenly, everyone's listening again, actually listening, and they want lyrics that hit harder than the bass. What Kendrick sparked was a hunger for realness, and in doing so, he made cool uncomfortable for a lot of people. The old formula of vibes over verses? Dead. The playlists that used to run the summer now feel empty. Kendrick changed the expectation, not just of rap, but of rappers. And the ones who built their careers without ever being tested, they're feeling that pressure now more than ever. This wasn't just a win, it was a warning. And if you're still with me, go ahead and hit that like button and subscribe, because this isn't just about one rapper winning a battle. It's about the entire game changing behind the scenes. And trust me, it gets deeper. Let's talk about what's really going on in these industry circles. Nobody's saying it out loud, but behind the scenes, the fear is real. Ever since Kendrick shifted the culture, the energy in hip-hop has changed, and not everyone's celebrating. According to DJ Akademiks, multiple rappers, some of the biggest names in the game, are quietly blaming Kendrick for ruining hip-hop. Why? Because he made people care again. He made listeners analyze lyrics, dissect bars, expect substance, and for a generation of artists built on melody, vibes, and repetition, that's a death sentence. Rappers like 21 Savage, Lil Yachty, and Youngboy aren't beefing publicly, but behind closed doors, they're furious. Akademiks says they think Kendrick made the genre too serious, like people can't just vibe anymore. But that frustration isn't about Kendrick, it's about exposure. He exposed just how low the bar had gotten, and now that fans are demanding more, these artists are scrambling to figure out how to compete in a world that suddenly cares about pen game again. The panic isn't on wax, it's in meetings, in group chats, in label offices. They're not clapping back because they don't have the arsenal. They're regrouping, watching, hoping the moment passes. But it won't. Drake might be quiet right now, but his circle? Cracking under the weight. DJ Akademiks didn't just speak in generalities. He made it clear. OVO and its allies are shook. The whispers coming out of that camp aren't about strategy, they're about survival. Kendrick's Grand National Tour isn't just successful, it's dominant. The visuals, the reception, the cultural moment. It's reminding the world what real hip-hop can look like. And that's bad news for anyone coasting off past relevance. According to Akademiks, artists close to Drake are openly venting frustration, not in interviews, but in private convos, DMs, and back-channel chatter. They're watching Kendrick pull off stadium-level performances and wondering where that leaves them. Because when Drake doesn't respond and Kendrick keeps rising, that spotlight shifts, and suddenly, the pressure isn't on Kendrick to keep proving himself. It's on them to prove they still matter. What we're seeing now is the crack in the armor. The confidence that used to surround OVO is now shadowed by doubt. Not because Kendrick is attacking, but because he's ignoring them and still winning. That's what really hurts. Joey Badass tried to step up and Kendrick didn't even blink. While most rappers were staying silent or playing defense, Joey saw an opening. He threw subtle jabs, challenged Kendrick on wax, and even teased that he could out-rap the so-called king. But instead of engaging, Kendrick pulled a move that said everything without saying a word. He brought AZ Cheke, the same West Coast rapper who dissed Joey on stage during his tour. That moment wasn't random, it was surgical. Kendrick made it clear, Joey doesn't get a response, not because he's not talented, but because he's not a threat. And that silence, that hit harder than a 16-bar rebuttal. Kendrick's refusal to engage told fans in the industry exactly where Joey stands in the hierarchy, beneath the radar. What makes it worse is that Joey doubled down after that. more subliminals, more bait, and still nothing. Because in Kendrick's world, not all rappers get acknowledged, and that silence is power. Joey aimed high, but all he did was prove how unbothered Kendrick really is, and for other rappers watching that unfold, it was a warning. Don't swing unless you're ready for the silence to speak louder than your diss. Now here's where it gets delusional. According to DJ Akademiks, the latest complaint from rappers in Drake's orbit isn't just that Kendrick took over, it's that he ruined hip-hop. Yeah, you heard that right. These artists, the ones who dropped the same album 5 times with a new feature every year, are now mad that Kendrick made fans start caring again. That he forced people to read lyrics, to pay attention, to expect more than just vibes and hooks. And that's what really burns. Because the truth is, Kendrick didn't ruin anything. He just raised the bar. He exposed how low the standards had fallen. Now rappers who used to thrive off TikTok flows and playlist placement are struggling to matter. They call it ruining the fun. What they really mean is Kendrick made it harder to get away with mediocrity. And when you've built a career on autopilot, that's terrifying. The game didn't get ruined. It got challenged. And the ones complaining the loudest are the ones least equipped to meet that challenge. This isn't about Kendrick being too deep. It's about them realizing they were never really built for the long game. Kendrick's pen isn't the only thing making rappers uncomfortable. It's his moves outside the booth that really have them heated. Chanel, Gatorade, stadium tours. Kendrick Lamar isn't just winning in rap, he's becoming a global brand, and the gap between him and the rest of the field is getting wider by the day. While others are still begging for playlist spots, Kendrick is out here partnering with legacy companies and moving like an icon. The Gatorade collab hit different, not just because it was clean and powerful, but because it sent a message. I'm not just part of the culture, I am the culture. That kind of crossover success isn't just about money, it's about positioning. Kendrick's aligning himself with athletes, artists, and movements bigger than rap, and for other rappers who used to sit comfortably in that space, it's jarring. The jealousy isn't always loud, but it's there, because when you see Kendrick walking in fashion shows and headlining arenas while maintaining his credibility, you start to realize he's playing a different game, and worse, he's winning at it. This isn't about beef anymore, it's about status, and Kendrick just elevated to another tier. The ripple effect of Kendrick's run didn't just shake the industry, it exposed the artists who thrived under the old rules. Rappers like Lil Baby, Young Thug, and Yachty, once seen as reliable chart movers, are now stuck in a post-Kendrick world that doesn't play by the same rules. Their latest projects? Career lows. Forget first week numbers, the conversation barely lasted 48 hours, and that's not just bad timing, that's a wake-up call. These were the artists who rose during Drake's dominant run, where melodic trap, playlist formulas, and vibe-heavy hooks were the ticket to success. But Kendrick flipped that script. Suddenly fans are craving depth, authenticity, and lyrical weight, and the artists who coasted through the vibe era are struggling to keep up. What's worse, many of them are publicly tied to Drake. That OVO association used to mean dominance. Now it feels like a liability. The pressure isn't just coming from fans, it's coming from inside the industry. Labels are watching, streams are stalling, and every failed rollout becomes another reminder. Kendrick didn't just win the battle, he changed the battlefield. And now, these rappers are trying to fight a new war with outdated weapons. Here's the craziest part. The rap game has gone quiet, like eerily quiet. We're halfway through the year, and outside of Kendrick's run, nobody's dropping. And that's not coincidence, that's fear. The energy shifted after the beef. Kendrick didn't just raise the bar, he cemented it. And now every rapper with a release date is thinking twice. Because once you drop in this climate, you're not just competing with your peers, you're competing with Kendrick's cultural dominance. Stadium tours, viral verses, iconic visuals, dropping mid, that's a career risk now. And rappers know it, even the ones with hype around them are stalling. Label delays, pushed back rollouts, creative direction excuses. It's all code for we're not ready to meet the new expectations, not ready to have their project dissected, line by line, not ready to be told their vibe music isn't enough anymore. Kendrick's presence is so loud, it's silencing entire release schedules. Not because he's dissing, but because his standard makes everything else feel undercooked. The game isn't flooded, it's frozen, and until someone delivers something worthy of standing next to Kendrick's momentum, it might stay that way. This isn't about chart positions anymore, it's about who gets remembered. Kendrick's not just rapping, he's building a legacy, and that's the part that's terrifying everyone else. While other rappers are clinging to the formula that got them here, Kendrick is redefining what it means to last. He's not chasing trends, he's setting the narrative. Every move feels intentional, from the Grand National Tour to the brand partnerships to the silence that hits louder than a diss. And as he levels up, the rest of the rap game looks like it's standing still. Rappers who once ruled summer playlists now feel like afterthoughts. Their drops don't make noise, their bars don't trend, and the audience? They're tuning into Kendrick, not just because he's better, but because he's evolving. This is what happens when one artist moves with purpose and the others move with fear. Kendrick's focus is legacy, long-term impact, cultural relevance, generational influence, but the rest? They're just trying to survive, and that's the divide. One artist building forever, the others trying to squeeze out one more hit. And in that race, the ones still stuck in survival mode are already losing. We're not just watching a hot streak, we're witnessing a cultural shift in real time. Kendrick Lamar didn't just win a battle, he reshaped the battlefield. And now the entire rap industry is feeling the aftershock. The fans have spoken, they want substance, authenticity, and intentionality. Lazy bars and copy-paste beats aren't cutting it anymore. Kendrick proved that you can dominate without selling out, that you can be mainstream and still have meaning. And that's where the pressure lands, because every rapper now has to choose, elevate, or evaporate. The line is drawn. On one side, lyricism, art, and legacy. On the other, algorithms, streams, and short-lived clout. And Kendrick's success is pushing more fans to the first side. That's why the jealousy is loud. That's why the silence is louder. This moment exposed who's really built for the culture and who just benefited from its decline. Moving forward, the artists who last will be the ones who adapt, who create with purpose, who respect the craft. Because Kendrick didn't just raise the bar, he made mediocrity embarrassing. And if that scares people, good. The culture deserves it. Now with all that said, what do you think? Is Kendrick pushing the culture forward, or is he just leaving everyone else behind? Let me know in the comments. I'm reading everything. Be sure to leave a like and subscribe if you made it this far. We're dropping these breakdowns all week long, and you don't want to miss what's coming next.